Welcome to our interview with the incredible KSWV radio shockwave station owner and broadcaster, Blake Coverdale. With a passion for music and a commitment to delivering the latest and greatest in synthwave, Blake has become a true pioneer in the industry, and their station is a go to destination for fans around the world. And we are thrilled to have the opportunity to learn more about their journey, insights, and plans for the future. So sit back and turn up the volume and let's dive in. Thank you for joining us, Blake.
Hey, thank you for inviting me and asking me to come on and do this with you.
You are so very welcome. So, what inspired you to create a synthwave radio station, and how did you go about building it?
I'll tell you a small bit about me. I have many years' work experience in the radio business, e-commerce, and in digital marketing and promotion. Let me see, I was an 80s kid, to be honest, and I grew up during the 1980s. So naturally, I was a huge fan of new wave synth pop and especially rock stars and rock bands that use synths, synthesizers in their sound, like the Cars, Van Halen, Loverboy, Billy Squier, Rush, people like that. So naturally, around 2006, when the synthwave, retrowave, chillwave music scenes started developing and getting started, I actually did not discover them at that time. I discovered them about 4 years after that in 2010. So once I did know that the stuff existed, I absolutely loved these new music genres because they took me back to the 1980s and reminded me of stuff from the 1980s in so many ways. And so, but back in those years leading up to 2014, 2015, I was listening to a lot of artists like Washed Out, Electric Youth, Million Young, Kavinsky. Oh, let me see. Trevor Something, Tame Impala, Flight Facilities, Empire of the Sun, The Chromatics, Taro Ima, Com Truise, Joy Bishop, Nina, Time Cop 1983. And then in 2015, I became completely hooked on a new, mostly unheard of synthwave band known as The Midnight. So I digress on your question, going back to how I got inspired to creating a synthwave radio station. Around that same time in 2014, 2015, a friend of mine introduced me to virtual reality. And through this virtual world on the internet known as Second Life, I was literally blown away when I went there for my first time. And what I was blown away by was the fact that you can experience virtually almost anything that you can imagine there. One of the cool things I also discovered in Second Life was how popular virtual nightclubs were and how you could make real money as a virtual DJ there. So after I had been in Second Life about 3 weeks, a regular member going in, nightly and stuff, I decided because of my radio broadcasting background years earlier that I was going to become a virtual DJ a couple nights a week. And the problem was I could not find any virtual clubs or DJs that even knew what synthwave, retrowave music was. So after weeks of searching, I came to the conclusion that synthwave music did not exist in the virtual world. So I did the natural next best thing, and that's I opened the very first virtual music club in Second Life that played exclusively synthwave and retrowave music. So doing that led me to meeting some cool people later on the next year, which had these people had a really popular internet radio station, and they invited me to do a radio show with them. So that in itself turned into 4 years. 4 years of me being with that radio station and broadcasting 3 nights a week, promoting synthwave and retrowave artists on the air. And around 2019, that radio channel was ended and sold off to someone else. So I left there and I went on to creating KSWV Radio Shockwave. And so most of the synthwave, retrowave music artists that I've been promoting all these years in the virtual world and on the radio the last 4 years, they're either unsigned or they're self-producing or they are signed to smaller indie record labels, and they don't really get that much interest or airplay from corporate mainstream radio. So when I created KSWV Radio Shockwave, I invested my own money and almost 1 year of my time getting the station off the ground with licenses, paperwork, building the website, business plan and all that stuff. And the whole purpose and vision for this radio station was, and it still is, to help the music artists in the synthwave retrowave community get heard and to help them get their music out to the world. So we basically offer them basic promotion and regular airplay on the radio station for free at no cost to them. We've never asked the artists to pay us for any of the above, and we never will.
That's great. What do you think makes synthwave music unique, and how do you see it evolving in the future?
What makes synthwave retrowave music so unique, in my opinion, is that it is a modern day music genre that is clearly heavily influenced and inspired by movies, TV shows, video games, and music sounds of the 1980s. Now, as far as it evolving, as I said before, it's meant to be a modern day music inspired by the sounds and sights and style and media culture of the 1980s. So if it were to evolve away from that in any way, it would become something else. And then thus no longer, it couldn't be called synthwave retrowave anymore. So I guess the music itself really won't evolve. But despite my view on that, I do believe that some of the music artists in the synthwave retrowave community may end up choosing to expand their creativity by integrating other styles or genres into their music projects. And that's already happening. So I'm not saying that that's a good thing or a bad thing. It's just something that happens with music naturally because creativity and the human spirit they were never meant to be limited.
Right. Blake, what do you think sets your radio station apart from others in the synthwave genre? And what do you think makes it successful?
What sets us apart is that this radio station, as I said before, was created specifically to help promote the synthwave retrowave music community and the artists within it. It does not matter if they are an unsigned artist or they're signed to a small indie label, as long as their music is in the synthwave retrowave genre or any of the other synth related genres that we play, we'll make sure that their songs get promoted and get exposure and get airplay on our radio station. So as for what makes us successful, I would say that our vision for the station, helping promote the 1980s revival and these amazing synthwave music artists in the community, we've succeeded at helping them. And I would have to say today in 2023, we've been offering this free airplay and promotion to the artists in the synthwave retrowave community for almost 4 years. And thanks to our amazing program manager, Luna, our station has really blown up to the point that now we're currently working with close to 2,000 music artists and 12 very awesome indie record labels.
That is awesome. Can you recommend some of your favorite synthwave artists or tracks that our audience should check out?
Yeah, I could do that. I mean, just to name a few, I'll add some of the artists that I mentioned earlier, such as Washed Out, Electric Youth, Million Young, Kavinsky, Trevor Something, Tame Impala, Flight Facilities, Empire of the Sun, The Chromatics, Toro y Ma, Com Truise, Droid Bishop, Nina, Time Cop 1983, and especially The Midnight. Another one of the best ways you and your audience could check out synthwave retrowave music, I believe, it would be to just go to our website, kswv.radioshockwave.com. And the reason why is because we're on the air 24/7, and your audience can listen from anywhere in the world simply by going to our website and pushing the play button.
It's fantastic. So looking to the future, what are your plans for KSWV Radio Shockwave?
Well, plans can change, but right now the plan that's on the table is that we're going to continue doing what we do best, and that's what we've already been doing, promoting and giving airplay for free to some of the most awesome, amazing indie electronic music artists in the world. But in addition to doing that for them, we do have future plans to start a related record label. And in addition to that, we're also going to offer to the artists down the road our advanced professional marketing and promotion services, public relations, social media management, and e-commerce experience, and we'll offer that to them at a small fee. But if they just want the basic, they can still get the basic promotion and radio airplay that we currently give on our station. That will remain free and no cost ever to the music artist. They're never going to have to pay for that. That's never going to change. That's just, that's permanently ingrained in the way we do things here at KSWV.
And that is a wonderful thing to offer. So thanks so much for taking time to chat with me, Blake, and it was an honor.
It was an honor being here, and I'm glad I was able to give you some background and some information on what we're doing and why and everything. And hopefully you and your audience might, come to love the music as much as I do. But, definitely check out those artists I mentioned, or just listen into our station sometime.
Again, that was Blake Coverdale with me today, and you can check out his station at kswv.radioshockwave.com.